And thank you for making it appear as if this show does have some sort of baseball knowledge there, Michael Cole, because everything you just said could have been said by us over time, and we just failed to do so, which is obviously on us. We need to be better hosts whenever we're covering it. But I did get a chance to learn about one particular player from the Atlanta Braves over the last few hours here. Once I learned this man was coming on the show, it came out of nowhere, by the way. Pretty excited about it. And he's an absolute stud. Cut a promo after Game 4. Game 4, by the way, I don't remember what inning. It was late. Hits a game-tying home run. Then he gets interviewed about coming back home to Georgia. And he never expected it. He was a Diamondback. He got traded out of nowhere. Die-hard Falcons fan. Die-hard Hawks fan. Now he's playing for the hometown. He's from
Met Killer.
Met Killer. Everybody seems to be that. But this dude is electrifying. Then obviously in the World Series winning game, hits another dong shot. Ladies and gentlemen, shortstop for the Atlanta Braves, Dansby Swanson. Yay! What's up, dude?
How y'all doing?
How have you been doing? You pretty good? Is it much similar to the other sports whenever you win? You've been on one here, huh? Yeah?
Oh, I'm exhausted, dude. I played 193 games this year, like including spring training. So I'm just like spent, really.
Yeah, emotionally as well. And I'd assume after that incredible long marathon of a season, and then it ends with such a high point, I'd assume the celebration that comes after that is maybe wearing off at this point a little later in the week, and I'm assuming there's a parade coming or whatever. But at what point do you get over the length of the season? 193 games, that is so many games. You guys are rock stars on the road every single day. At what point do you kind of like get away and get back into it now? Have you even thought about that? Does it change as you get older?
So, this year was different because last year, obviously, we had like the sprint of a year. We played 60 games in the regular season, then you went right into the postseason. You were in a bubble. They kind of changed the playoff format, so it was way different than any of the previous years. But this year, you go back to the full 162, you add in spring training. I played, I think, 17 games in spring and then another 16 in the playoffs. So, it absurd. Like, I don't think people realize, like, we play 162 games in 180 days, and
what a joke.
Like, what I think people don't realize that how much that is, but then you also add in the fact of, like, we'll fly from Atlanta all the way out to LA and play the next night. Like, you won't get a day off. You know, like, that's what people don't see. Like, we'll get into a hotel at 4 a.m. and have a game that next night at 7. It's not like it's not like, oh, you get let you get your bearings together. Like, no, like, it's grind time. You know, like you're ready to go.
Well, somehow your team got better late, right? Like, I'm not 100% sure if I know the entire story. Michael Cole, who's an avid baseball fan, voice of the WWE, is going to ask you a question here momentarily that I think is absolutely incredible. But how do you manage fatigue in the body? Because obviously, Game 4 of the World Series, you hit a bomb. Then obviously in this Game 6 there, you hit another one. How do you maintain strength and fatigue? Is that just something? How do you guys do it? Because you see some baseball players, by the way, right? I mean, there's a couple out there that are okay. They don't care about physical health much. It just seems like they're here to do their thing. Then it seems like there's probably people that are over the top, like super duper, every meal scripted out. How do you maintain through that long of a? That's 6 months, right? I mean, that's a fucking long time.
Well, obviously, you know, like you get after it in the off season so that you can withstand like a 162, right? To be able to be in shape. And it's not necessarily like, you know, my girlfriend would give me a hard time because she could run laps around me, you know, when it comes to like actual conditioning.
Yeah, you guys don't run
she
ever.
She plays professional soccer.
I mean, she runs marathons for fun.
Yeah. She enjoys the run part of it, and I'm like so out on the run. You know, like I'm like I'll meet me in the weight room. I'll do my deadlifts. I'll do my trap bar stuff. Like, I'm cool with that. But anything that we start getting the cardio up, I gotta get like forced to do it.
How about a shortstop there? Hey, how about a shortstop there? You gotta be quick, right? That's something where you gotta be quick. How do you train for that specifically? Is that something? Because that's a position where stuff happens, right?
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff happens at shortstop.
A lot of it. Baseball instincts are a big part. Like just some of the reaction stuff is the anticipation of like knowing what's going to happen before it happens. So that's part of it. But when it comes to training for it, I mean, obviously you do some different like footwork things and some different reactionary stuff that kind of just sharpens that skill and kind of keeps it locked in. But honestly, the thing about baseball that's so unique is the only way to get better at it is to actually do it. Like if you want to get better at taking ground balls, like your footwork, I'm just a big believer in taking ground balls. Like do all the ladder drills you want. Ain't nobody pulling a ladder out at shortstop and you do a ladder drill and then you catch a ball. Like nobody does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of like doing the real thing. So yeah, that's just kind of my style. But
hey, it's working.
When it comes to 162, everyone's got their own thing. I'm not a believer in like being super strict because I feel like, especially like if you stress yourself out because you're trying to be so on point, that's not going to help either. But if you do absolutely nothing, then that's not going to help. Like you find the moderation of knowing when and what to eat at certain times, like knowing, okay, you know, I've kind of let it loose here for a week. Like I need to kind of lock it back in for a week. You know, I've had a few too many beverages the past week. I need to kind of tone down for a week. Like there's a mix and a balance of it. You make sure you go in the weight room and kind of get a few lifts in, you know, on certain game days and stuff like that. So yeah, you just kind of utilize all the resources that you can.
It's a full lifestyle. And speaking of food and treating yourself, this leads to a great question from the voice of the WWE.
Hey, Dansby, congratulations, by the way.
Congrats, Dansby.
Thank you.
So I'm a Mets fan, and you guys broke our heart. Obviously, we were in first place for much of the year, and then typical New York style, we collapsed. But tell me about you guys, because you guys tread water for much of the season. I mean, until after the All-Star break, when you started to get hot a little bit. And I heard a story, and I want to know if this is true, that it all sort of went your way when you guys went to Fenway to play the Red Sox in an interleague game, and you guys noticed that there was an ice cream machine for the players. And you guys went back to Atlanta, and you had Freddie Freeman, your first baseman, lobby your general manager to put a soft-serve ice cream machine in the clubhouse, and that started the winning streak and sent you guys to the World Series. Is there truth to that story?
Huh?
So there is massive truth when it comes to
Here we go.
Boston's the only place that has the soft serve ice cream machine, and so like because we go there usually once a year, once every couple of years, and like that's what everyone's looking forward to. It's not playing in Fenway; it's the ice cream machine.
Oh, yeah.
And so we lobbied for it. We got back home. We're like, listen, this is going to bring the boys together. All right, if we get an ice cream machine and I get my magic shell, chocolate shell thing that can go in the ice cream, I'm going to be locked in for these games. So, sure enough, we were able to, Freddie pulled his weight around a little bit and was like, hey, we're going to get an ice cream machine. And that kind of started, I wouldn't say that necessarily brought the winning streak, but that got everybody going in the right direction. We were all on board after we got the ice cream machine. Now that we want it all, our next thing that we want is a margarita machine.
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
the next
Hey,
thing.
did you guys have those little helmets, the baseball helmets?
Oh, we got them.
Oh, you got it. So you put the little soft serves in there and all that? That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Hey, let's talk about not just the margarita machine. It feels like you guys could probably make a lot of requests. You need to do that now, too, as we're hung over with celebration here. You know what I mean? You guys need to have, hey, we like the margarita machine as well, Dyer. Nacho.
Right.
Nacho bar, maybe you need a little bit of that. Because it sounds great that your team in ownership, it seems like, is all like, hey, okay, let's go ahead and do that. And I know you got traded from the Diamondbacks over to Atlanta, and you said it was surprising. I think if I listened to the interview you did after Game 4 of the World Series, which was awesome, by the way, you fucking crushed that. You should feel very good
WWE-like.
It was
Yep.
kind of promo-esque. It was incredible. It was very babyface, wasn't it?
Yes,
I mean,
it
you went
was.
through the entire story and then the whole thing there. Yeah, it was. It was great fucking promo.
Just real, man. I mean, it's funny. It's like people talk about that interview, but like I've always been a man of like truth and honesty, and that's just like that's what it felt. Like that's what it felt like. Like the emotions were, I'm an Atlanta lifer. Like I keep saying that, and I obviously I grew up here, but like I'm always ATL. Like in everything I do, like I'm all Atlanta rap music. Like I'm huge in all the Atlanta scene that you can think of. Like that's what I love, and it just kind of came out that way, and very truthfully. But the crazy story, I'll tell you. So when I got traded, I'd played maybe 20 games in the minor leagues with Diamondbacks. Like this was fresh out of getting drafted by Arizona. I was in Nashville because I went to Vandy, so I was in Nashville for the off season, And I was at dinner with a bunch of like Nike executives because the winter meetings for baseball were being held in Nashville. So they were in town. They wanted to go to dinner. So we're downtown Nashville at a nice dinner, sitting there having great conversation, and my phone is blowing up. And I'm not going to be that guy and pull my phone out at dinner. Like, that's just rude anyways. But I'm not going to do it with these guys especially.
Yeah.
And so one of them was like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom or whatever. And I saw one of them pull their phone out. And I was like, okay, maybe this is like the time to just check to see like what's going on. The first text I read was, is it true? And that's the worst text you can get. You're like, I don't know what you're referring to. And usually that's not a good thing. Like, is it true? Like, what, am I getting arrested? I haven't done anything, but you don't know.
Yeah.
So then I found out that same guy sends me a screenshot from Twitter that I had gotten traded. And that's pretty much how I found out. Because my agents, they were in a big meeting with a bunch of different teams on one of their really big free agents they had at the time. And so, like, they weren't aware either. Like, nobody was aware. And then all of a sudden, everyone's phone's getting blown up because, I was getting traded. And it was just it was like a shock.
Let me let me run through this real quick, just so I can go back, because I don't know baseball that well. I do know that, like, Pat White was quarterback at West Virginia. He got drafted like 3-4 different times because everybody thought they'd have his naming rights at least whenever he was done with baseball. And I think it happened in high school and then through college. So you end up at Vandy. So that means you got drafted you were number 1 overall. Did you get drafted number 1 overall out of high school, and then you chose to go to Vandy, and then they still had your rights, or was it after you played through Vandy?
So I got drafted my senior year out of high school. It was like a courtesy pick, like in like the 38th round. Like, it was like a, hey, you deserve to hear your name get drafted kind of deal. Like, we know you're going to school. See you in 3 years. So when the purpose of like the naming rights stuff is if you get drafted, so let's say you're like a sophomore eligible, you get drafted and you don't sign, that same team has your rights for a year, essentially. So I got drafted by the Rockies out of high school, like I said, as a courtesy pick. And then I went to Vandy for 3 years and came out as,
fucking dominated it. Yeah. I mean, God, that is awesome. 38th pick, the number 1 overall. 3 years later, now you're a World Series champ in your hometown. What a fucking life. Hey, Dansby.
Yeah.
Hey, Dansby.
Hey, it is a great life. And like I said on the that interview, like, I didn't know that coming home would be the best thing that ever happened to me. Obviously, I love it here, but everyone knows, like, when you get traded, like, that's a crap feeling, dude. Like, you feel like someone doesn't want you, right? You're just getting kicked to the curb. Also, I didn't want to be home because I didn't want to get bothered all the time.
Yes.
I was ready to be out, kind of form my own, like, new life out in Arizona, and when my family would want to come to visit, like, by all means they could, but I was not about it. And then slowly but surely, I started to realize, like, this was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got 4 nephews. I get to see them grow up.
Yeah.
I got my family, obviously, my parents. My brother and sister, they live here, so I get to see them all the time. My girlfriend, Mallory, would never have met her. Her brother-in-law is Jace Peterson, who is one of my best friends, and he was playing on the Braves at the time. So, like, that's how we met. And it's just like you start adding all these things up, like, never would have lined up if I didn't get traded back home.
Yeah, the universe is an interesting thing. The way things work out is always incredible looking back. Steve Jobs has a quote that says, you can't connect the dots looking forward, right? You can only do that looking back. You just got to hope that every step you're going will make sense in the end or something like that. And it's like so incredibly real, especially hearing you experience the success you had. I was scared to death if I ended up on the Pittsburgh Steelers. From Pittsburgh, my friends, the Savages at that age that we had, I would have never made it. I'd be selling sandwiches right now.
There were some growing pains, I'll tell you. There were some growing pains because right when I got called up, basically, I was actually living at home. It was like a month worth. It was like the last month of the season. And then I bought a house literally 5 minutes down the street from my folks. And my 3 best friends from high school, like my absolute boys from home, we all lived together.
Yeah.
So we're just going to end the conversation at that. But it was definitely a lot of learning experiences. But since then, I have found my own place. Me and Mallory together.
Yeah, you're a World Series champ, dude.
I'm a World Series champ.
You're fucking got a pennant.
Something that no one can ever take away from you.
Ever.
That's the crazy part.
You'll be introduced as that forever. That's awesome. Go ahead, Ty.
Dansby, in you guys' division, obviously you got a couple horses, with DeGrom, Wheeler, some of those other guys. Who do you think the toughest guy in the MLB is to hit against? And like when you're going against DeGrom, like do you do anything mentally differently, like when preparing for a guy like that?
Well, I'll venture to say that our division has the best pitching in baseball. I mean, the Marlins, who finished with maybe the worst record in our division, I think actually has the best pitching, which is crazy. And I think that's one of the things that gets overlooked a lot about our division. Like, we may have only won 88. I like that stance. They have only won 88 games.
I don't have
but it's hard to go on a winning streak when you're facing the guys that we're facing night in and night out. But in terms of, facing a guy like DeGrom, I wouldn't necessarily say mentally you do anything different. You just understand that your margin, like the margin for error is so small. Like when you're facing a guy that's of that status, like elite status like that, you have to be so on point.
That's
but I think the
fucking
biggest
crazy.
thing is you can't.
The margin
The
of
moment
error.
you get like intimidated or fearful by those guys, you're done. They smell that.
Hey, look, the margin for error is fucking insane now that I think about it. I mean, I made contact every
round
single
ball,
time.
round bat, hit it square.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
there.
but put yourself in DeGrom's shoes or Wheeler's shoes or whoever. Look at the lineup that you got to face with Atlanta, especially when Acuna's healthy. I mean, you guys have an unbelievably ridiculous lineup.
Are you guys sharing messages to each other, like when you're batting in order? Like, is there like, hey, this pitcher tonight is doing this, or is there a tell? Are you actually looking for seams? Is that something that's real?
So, going into the game, like we have meetings that go over pitchers and scouting reports and kind of like an approach to face certain guys and how it's going to be successful for you and all those kinds of things. There are certain tells that go on, like that, whether it's, I wouldn't necessarily say pitchers tipping as much, because everyone's so kind of like paranoid about it these days that everyone has clean, like is clean when it comes to like their mechanics and things like that give away pitches. But we do talk about like, hey, this guy, I noticed he's standing more on maybe the third base side of the rubber. So his pitches are coming in at like a different angle than if he was on the first base side, or like there's just different like little things. Or hey, that breaking ball, it feels like it's going straight down more than side to side, and so you can kind of share different things back and forth.
So that's why,
if you just pay attention.
So that's why having a lot of good hitters on the same team is such a big deal, probably throughout games as well, right? Is that something?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like your best player, which is why baseball is so unique too, because in football, right, if you're Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, like you're getting the ball, you know what I mean, like you're gonna touch the ball every 5 minutes, and then you can impact each play, whereas in baseball, you could be Mike Trout, you could be Freddie Freeman, you're only hitting once every 3 innings or so like you have your one chance to do something, and if you don't, then your teammates have to pick you up. And if if you're Freddie, like every ball can't get hit to Freddie Freeman. Like that's just not how it works. But Tom Brady, every time he can make the play calls, he can make the protection calls, he can tell guys where to go, and he can impact every play. Whereas you could literally go through a game and do absolutely nothing. Like no balls hit to you, you don't do anything at the plate very, very productively, and you were like almost non-existent.
Hey, getting over that. Hey, mentally, that's probably something, huh? Is that? I assume that is something in that.
That's why the 162 is even harder. Like physically, it's part of it just because it's an everyday grind, just like beat you down. But mentally, dude, I'm telling you, you go 0 for 4 in like 4 straight games. You're showering with your jersey on. You're starting to do some crazy things to try and change the juju. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I haven't touched the ball in 3 days. I think I'm going to go try and do this, So it's a battle.
Hey, congratulations on being World Series.
Yeah.
Because think about all the bullshit you've gone through probably for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you still got a lot of years ahead of you, and there's people that have played longer than you. But just think about the road to get to the top and all the mental battles. And it's unbelievable, man. It's very, very cool. I can't, because 162, and how my brain operates. And the games are like 7 hours long. I have no idea how you guys get through those things. I have no clue how you do it. I did it one game. I played one game. It was for the Washington Wild Things. They were in the Frontier League, so I am kind of a professional baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
Only time in my entire life I played baseball. It was, the third inning? And I said, what inning is it? I thought it was like
Second.
8 or
It was
9.
the second.
Second inning. I'm like, holy shit, we are here all night.
That's another thing. Like, you learn over time how to, like, be in and out. Like, you learn to, like, check in and check out and check in and check out. Like, it's you really do, like, learn, like, and how to just try and play the game as, like, relaxed as possible. Like, like, when you're tense, like, you get tired way quicker. Like, if you're trying super hard, like, the intensity of that kind of like takes it out of you. But when you learn to just like relax and be able to play the game instinctually, it kind of like comes a little bit more naturally. Like
I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. I hope, though. I'm going to keep giving it a go. I'll keep watching you. Go ahead, Tone.
Dansby, when Soler puts a ball on the moon, like what was it like in the dugout? Was it like, okay, this is ours. This is the game that we're going to close this out. What was the attitude like when that ball was put on Mars?
Well, first of all, if you think he hit that ball far, y'all have got to watch my man take BP. He hits balls like because he's
Is
usually
that
in the
corked
first
bats?
group when he hits.
You guys all use
cork.
You guys all use corked bats in BP and those bouncy balls. No, he's using actual balls.
The Astros are the cheaters.
But him.
You said it.
Him and BP though. You're saying it's a show out there.
It is like the world needs to see that man home run derby. But at the same time, I'd be terrified for like those kids who are in the outfield because I'm telling you, like I'm taking ground balls, and I try and get done after he hits his first round because his first round he's kind of just like feeling it out, and then he goes in like full launch mode, and it's like a rocket ship, dude. Like these balls are getting hit. I'm telling y'all think that one was hit far? Like not even close compared to the other one.
What is it? Is that explosion? Is it contact? What is it? His form? What makes?
He is the mannequin. Like the mannequin they put the jerseys on, like at like a sporting goods store. He is like a picture perfect, like 6'4", chiseled, super strong, and unbelievable, like hitting mechanics. So you combine all of that, and it's a show. But after he hit that homer, I think it was almost like we learned our lesson the game before because when Duvey hit that grand slam in the first inning, it's almost like we like lost our cool. Like it's not a 1 inning game; it's 9 innings. And so when he did that in the fourth inning, maybe third or fourth, I think it was the third inning. It was kind of like, okay, yeah, we can go nuts, but just remember, there's still another 18 outs left to play. Like, we still have to get 21 more outs.
We still have 10 more hours in this game.
Right. We still have this marathon to go, right? Like, so I think that was one of the biggest things was just remind everybody, like, hey, keep going. Like this, we cannot stop because we learned last time that if we kind of just let our foot off the gas, this team is really good and they're going to take it to us again. So we got to kind of like, everybody chill out. Let's get back to what we're doing that's made us this good and keep doing that.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Cole.
Hey, Dansby, what happened to him? I mean, he came over. He was hitting like 118 when he came over from the Royals, right? I mean, what happened to him? What changed?
So, mechanically, I think one big thing that he was like, when I say he was getting like stuck back, so when you hit, you obviously like go forward. And when he was landing, his shoulders, like he was like out of whack. So there was only certain types of pitches he could hit. And when, I'm telling you, when professional sports, like professional pitchers, when they figure out things that you can't hit, they will do it until you can't, or until you prove that you can hit it.
That's like me on
and
a ping pong table.
I feel like he came over and just crushed it.
What, did you fix him?
I've seen better, but hey, we can work on it.
Well, hold on. Dansby, I was trying to enact what you were talking about. That was Mr. Cuda there. It was not me. All right, let's have a little bit of respect. Jesus. I don't even know if I'm a righty or a lefty, to be honest.
When you played minor league ball, what'd you hit that time?
Righty.
And you had a hit, right?
Well,
Probably should have been batting lefty.
probably should have been batting lefty. That's what I'm saying.
333 on base.
Yeah, 333 on base percentage, no big deal. Got to second base against a guy that was drafted by the fucking Yankees.
How about that?
I mean, how about it? No big deal. But I think I'm a
Sorry
left.
about it.
Okay, sorry about it, dude. Hey, 92 ain't good enough here, pal. Fucking bang! Gonna square. I don't know how to get any.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That actually looked good right there. The leg kick.
Thank you.
Please,
I've been trying
Dansby, please do not
You did.
feed him.
Listen,
do not feed the ego.
Listen, Dansby, I'll have that son of a bitch sitting up here. If those pitchers want to wait, I'll fucking wait too. You know what I mean?
You got the good uke too.
Yeah. What's that?
You.
This one. Is that this one?
Yeah. Yep.
This one here. Do you do any of that shit? I should have done more research. Have you changed your stance or your swing at all? And do you change it ever?
Sometimes. I mean, I found out that like the simpler the better. The simpler you are, the more repeatable you can be.
Yeah, it's punting.
And I would say my one big thing that really helps me is I hit left-handed a lot. Like before games, I like to hit. I'm a right-handed hitter, but I like to hit left-handed. Like it's almost like if I were to like go play basketball. Like it's so like basketball is like my freeing sport. Like just go play around, shoot around or whatever. When I hit left-handed, it takes thinking out of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know what the equivalent would be for you. Like if you were like in a slump punting, like. What would something be where you just be like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to kick this ball as far as I can? Like, I don't know.
So what I would probably do, to be honest, I mean, it's a little bit different than probably your mechanics, but I'd probably take probably an entire ounce of vitamins to the backyard and just work my way through it. I would take off to the moon, and then I would work my way through it. I was much more of I need to adjust something in my mind to get me into it, right? So I need to adjust the way I'm looking at it, because everything you just said there about repeatable and only going out, I only go on the field like every 45 minutes or so. And if I have a miss, I got to sit on the side and just fucking take it, right? So it's pretty similar to batting.
And everybody knows it when you miss.
Everybody, the whole place. And when you shank a punt, the whole place knows. I mean, it is. And then you got your teammates like, got to put the fire out because this fucking guy. So it's one of those things you just got to stand on the sideline. So for me, I would just have to adjust my things that I'm thinking before I'm going, So that's the only thing I really did. I couldn't punt lefty. I wish I was that athletic and strong. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't fucking go anywhere, Did you ever hit lefty in games or no? You ever think about that?
No, when I was younger, I would switch it some. Like I would obviously I'd hit left-handed and stuff some. But I just kind of knew that like right-handed would be. That I would be much more like consistent and better if I was just stick to being right-handed. But it's the same kind of thing. Like it changes the thought process. It changes like your eyesight. Like just doing it from the other side, And next thing you know, like, and I'm in the cage hitting left-handed. If I roll one over or if I pop one up, I literally could care less because I'm hitting left-handed. So there's something like so like freeing about it where I just go hit left-handed. Whatever happens, what happens. Take some right-handed to just make sure I'm locked in for the game and go play. Like. It's like playing wiffle ball in the backyard. Like that's kind of like what it does. Like all right, I'm gonna simulate. Like I'm hitting like I'm gonna be Barry Bonds today and wiffle ball, and I'm just.
You do Ken Griffey's swing every single time when you're not. Do you do Ken Griffey's single hand? Do you do that?
Oh, when you're younger, baby, you simulate everybody.
How about now in that practice when you're lefty in there? You just like, hey.
No, I keep going. If I'm not hitting good right hand, I'm like, man, I might go play winter ball and just hit left handed. I'm gonna be a switch hitting shortstop. Like,
who's your favorite player growing up?
My favorite thing I'll be like, man, I wish my right handed swing was as good as my left handed swing because no one's ever like mechanically changed my left handed swing. Like it's just natural. You just go and hit. But right hand, it's like, I need to do this. Okay, I'll do this, okay. And then next thing you know, you've like mentally screwed yourself.
Takes all the thinking out of it. Who was your favorite player growing up?
Nomar.
Mr. Garcia Parr.
I was a big Nomar guy.
Right here. Hell of a player. He's right here. He's literally right behind Connor.
I love it. What's crazy too is he's married to Mia Hamm.
Yeah.
And so Nomar was my favorite growing up, and Mia was her favorite player growing up.
That's incredible.
Oh.
Yeah, and talk about just like small world.
Very small world, and that's what. Anytime you athletes get together, the next generation of just Christian McCaffreys.
Big time.
Can't wait to see what the Watts, everybody on that Chicago Stars team. Basically, it's going to be fantastic.
A little bit of meaningless trivia.
Here we go
about Dansby.
Yep.
Is he was born, I believe, in Kennesaw, Georgia, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which was the birthplace of, I believe, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was a commissioner of baseball during the Black Sox scandal back
Wow.
in 1919. Am I correct on that, Dansby?
I literally grew up 5 minutes from Council Mountain.
And there you go. So just a little bit of trivia.
Well, thank you for guiding baseball in a much better fashion than the previous Kennesaw native. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, World Series champ, Dansby Swanson. See, Dansby Swanson should be on TV every fucking day for the MLB, saying our sport is filled with incredibly cool
It's good,
people.
isn't he?
He was awesome.
It was so entertaining.
It's kind of like an Aaron. That felt like I was chatting with a little bit of an Aaron.
Young guy too. He's just getting started.
I would watch if he was on TV every night, but he's got baseball.
If they had him mic'd up every night of his games,
You'd watch.
So you guys should invest more time in baseball. It's enjoyable and it's
All right,
fun.
let's get
And
to a break.
there are
Okay.
some great.
Yeah, we got to get to a break. We appreciate Dansby for stopping by. He's obviously welcome anytime. All right. We'll get back to our break. He just snorted. Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to stick up for the
You
sport.
look like get your feet and your nose together over there.